Hello everybody, welcome to part 1 of this video tutorial series that I will be doing on creating 2D characters in Illustrator for games, for animation, for print. It works well for all those different mediums, but more specifically, this is how I create characters for games, for iOS. This dragon right here is for a game that's unreleased as of right now, but will soon be released. So you might be seeing him soon in an upcoming game. And I'm going to be going over how I created this character optimized for animation for games. So if you clicked on this video, you're freaking awesome, and you're going to learn a lot from this short little series that I'm going to be doing. When I was learning how to do this years ago, I read a lot of books. I'd watch really horrible YouTube videos with people that spoke in monotone voices. You ever listen to any of those? Yep, you've probably listened to some already today. Or 12-year-old kids have no idea what they're talking about, have no experience in the industry or with the software in general, and really just end up wasting your time. We are not going to waste our time today. We are going to learn how to do awesome characters like this optimized for animation, to be able to be put into animation and games and all sorts of awesome stuff. So what we want to do is we're going to, let me go over here where my artboard is. You always start with a template when you do your design. You might get to the point later where you could just have a white canvas and just start drawing your character out. I do that from time to time, but I really like to sit down a lot of times and just sketch a character, and then I like to take that into Illustrator as a template layer for me to draw or ink over. This is an already completed design that I'm just going to be, for convenience sake, using as a template for this tutorial. What I have done right over here is I have set this as my template layer, locked it so I do not ruin the paths that I've already created. And I created a new layer, which I will double click, and I'll just call this ink. And let's change the color of the guides. The magenta's not too bad, but sometimes if you've ever had a yellow guides, they're awful. I don't know who thought that was a good idea to ever have light colored guides, because you cannot see them. Let's go to teal. That sounds just lovely. Okay, we'll hit OK. Make sure you're on your new layer, and we're going to start by, let's start with this face right here. I think this is an interesting curvy design, which will be fun for demonstration. Let's bring up our pen tool. Some people like to use the brush to draw these paths, and that's a quicker way to do it. I also think it's a little bit more sloppy. You won't get as clean paths with a brush as you will with a pen tool, in my opinion. I think some people will argue that, but from my experience and what I do, I like to use the pen tool to create my paths. The pen tool is an amazing tool. It creates awesomely smooth curves and paths, but it's also kind of hard to learn how to use well. So what we're going to do is, let's start up and come up to this point right here, and I'm going to click there, and that sets an anchor point. Now I'm going to come down. This kind of just, as you go, as you learn, you kind of figure out the best ways and best places to plot new points. But I know, since from experience, this probably right here would be the best, because I'm going to get a nice clean curve. I'm going to click and drag out to create that. Okay, a fill is set right now. That's why it looks all wonky like this. If you look over here, I have my fill set. You can toggle that with X. Let's hit backslash to cancel out that color. Hit X again to bring up my stroke, which currently does not have any color assigned. Let's do black, and we'll come back to this. Okay. Now, to leave where I left off, let's click on this point right here, and we're going to come up, and we're going to keep going all the way down to this area right here. I can tell this is going to overshoot. If I try to click right here, it's going to create a path that goes like that. So it's really neat that with these paths you could with holding the Alt key, you can actually grab those handles and move those around, which is really, really handy. to make it so you don't overshoot or corrects the curve that you might have mistaken. I did that really fast and sloppily, and I did some mistakes. I like to grab this smooth tool, and you can just brush right over those to make those parts that are not smooth, to make them look nice. I'm kind of glad I did that sloppy so I could show you this. I like the smooth tool a lot. A lot of people don't use it. I think it's pretty neat. It gives me really good looking paths. Let's go ahead and select this path. We want to put its stroke up. Doink, doink, doink. There we go, nice and thick. I like to make my outlines really thick because when you're putting this character into a game, you want their arms and their head to have a good outline so you can distinguish the features. If you don't have good outlines, everything kind of goes together. It doesn't look very good. You could change it around for animations, just if you're making it animated short or something, but I have found if you're making small character sprites for a game, it's good to give them dark outlines from my experience. Okay, this line isn't very interesting, so what we want to do is, CS5 comes with some nice little presets up here in the variable width profiles. Let's use this one. You can create custom ones and put them in there as well, but the stock ones work really good, I think, for me. And that looks much nicer. We have that nice little taper going on. Let's create this tooth. Anchor point there, drag out. You'll get faster this as you go. Line up the anchor point. You can use spacebar to move those anchor points. Okay, that looks pretty good. Select them. Let's give them this variable width profile that comes out really sharply. Alright, as you can see, they're flipped around. I don't want this one like this. I'm going to select that, and with my stroke panel, I'm going to hit this little arrow right here. Doink! And now it's flipped the right way. Okay, let's put this up a little thicker to 4. Okay, so you're going to run into problems like this right here with, you can see how this kind of overshoots, and this little jaggy we have coming out right there, and we do not want that in our design. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select these. Well, let's line up these points so I can do it very well. That's okay. Let's select these and go to Object, Expand Appearance. That puts the anchor points to the outside of the path. Now I can, with the selection tool, select these paths and bring them in. There we go, nice and clean. You're going to continue your whole design doing this until it's all done. And then after you're done with that, make sure also that you put all your arms, everything that will be moving, in a separate layer for animation layer later. So when you start on the arm, hit a new layer, start with that. Until you're all done, you'll be ready for coloring, which we're going to talk about in the next video, part 2 of this short series. Here's my final character colored. Once again, we'll be going that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about how I did these things, leave me a question below and I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, goodbye.